Jim, it's Mike Namey with Global Trans. What's up, man? Not much. Not much. Cool. So, hey, I appreciate you, responding to that email and giving me, quick 5 minutes. Makes it a lot easier. Saves you a bunch of voicemails from me, but um, I'm mindful of your time. I just figured, hell, let's just get straight into it. But before I do that, actually, I did have a question. How familiar are you with 3PLs? Where, yeah, 3PL can mean a lot of different things. So I'll just give you the quick nickel tour of Global Trans. So we're a top 3PL, and when I say 3PL, full service transportation provider. So if you look at it, if you think about it as like a Sam's Club, right? You go to Sam's Club to you utilize their volume and scale and their partnerships and resources to get everything at a discounted rate, but also a one-stop shop, right? You pretty much, if you think about it, Sam's Club or Costco, you can go there and you get your, eggs and milk, and you can also get your, put new tires on your car. So yeah. So I look at it, I look at, that's what, tie that into a 3PL. That's, not every 3PL is a one-stop shop, but that, Global Trans is. So whether that be, you're just looking to, for transportation, utilizing our volume just to drive down rates, which I wouldn't recommend just doing because we can offer a lot more. But overhead, resources, dedicated teams. It's all situational. Technology. Let's face it. I'm not. Yeah, by no means am I sitting here saying pushing being that person that's like, oh, technology. But at some point, if not now, you're going to need some sort of technology. To automate certain processes that are just taking up too much time of, your employees that they could be spending doing things that would significantly impact the company outside of, like I said, is like crunching numbers or using Excel files or whatever it may be. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I definitely can hit on that. So when I say, I mean, again, obviously you want to save you guys money, right? But I would say is I look at myself a little bit of a black swan. I mean, there's definitely other salespeople out there, in the 3PL or full service transportation management companies that are looking for, an all in approach. But we're very few and far between. And a lot of times I think it gets twisted. People think as, they're not big enough to have that type of, boutique service when it comes into, call it managed trans enterprise. So what happens, or what, historically the industry is just very transactional, right? And another piece is that I've seen over my 8 years is there's just a lack of, executive leadership, such as yourself. I mean, you're the CFO of the company. Let me ask you this, have you really ever had a salesperson or even a meeting with, a logistic salesperson to talk about things from outside of just, hey, we can give you a cheaper rate? Exactly. So, you know, you are involved. It's just no one's ever reaching out to you, or heck, let's just face it. I think it's fair to say you probably don't care at some point. You figure out something that's intriguing you, right, as a CFO. So my goal would be is, I'm not even trying to have a shipping conversation with you. I know that, again, not knowing anything really what's going on operationally in your company, there's going to be a few other, quick meetings that, or hell, even if you brought them on to our next call, if you decide to take a next call, we can discuss some of the granular day-to-day stuff. But for, the initial call, I was just looking to look at this thing, 10,000 feet up, really just see what you guys are doing from a financial standpoint. Really if, there's anything that we can bring to the table, build out a strategy that is going to, specifically be towards your customers' wants and needs as well as yours, and then align those together. And if not, like I said, is I'm not looking for, a shipment here or there, or, just to kick me back to the shipping department to quote out rates. I don't want to, my goal isn't to be an extension to some challenges. My goal is to be an extension and of your team when it comes into logistics, supply chain, financial, technology, whatever it may be that we can help with. That's my goal. So, yep, definitely. I mean, if you have some time right now, I mean, I know that initially it was just give you kind of a rundown, but yeah, I mean, I got 5 minutes. If you got 5 minutes, see if it makes, yeah, perfect. Cool. So right now, I'm just curious, from a financial standpoint, do you guys eat the cost of shipping, or do you guys have, do you guys tack on freight costs, as a percentage of sale? How are you guys going about that? Percentage of sale. That's common. Is it a flat percentage? Cool. How did you guys get to that 18%? Okay. So just so I'm making sure I'm hearing you correctly, you got to that 18%. It just is it safe to say guesstimate? Yeah, by no means am I trying to say is, it's wrong, but my follow-up question would be to you is, that 18%, are you still paying for transportation? Got it. Yep, exactly. Well, let me hit on that for real quick. So, again, it's not uncommon that, mostly a lot of companies that I talk to, either they just eat it or they come to a percentage of sale, but don't have accurate data, showing them that, hey, this is the cost to serve, which leads me to, the impact of that is, having to pay for transportation more than they should, right? I'm not trying to sit here and saying that, we're going to, by knowing your cost to serve, it's going to, completely eliminate, your transportation spend, but it's definitely going to mitigate it. And in some cases, with certain customers, it's going to, my goal would be to increase those low margin customers, increase those margins. So, um, yep, definitely. So yeah, that's something that I would hit, I think that, your current state is where it's at right now. My goal would be to, build out a cost to serve analysis for you. So showing you exactly, the cost to serve by, the SKUs you guys have, the customers and locations, and then breaking it down into, okay, which SKUs, which customers, and which locations are low margin, and how do we increase that? And I won't go into like, that's probably where it comes into, having, do you guys have like a VP of supply chain, director? Yeah. So that would be more or less like me and your director would look into that, and, order bins and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff we can play with, but just strictly on a financial point, knowing the cost to serve, yeah, knowing the cost to serve by the things I just mentioned is only going to, increase profitability and drive out transportation costs. No, yeah, we're still a transportation company. So yeah, but cool. So that would be something that would definitely benefit you guys. Would, yeah. Do you know, off the ballpark of your head, if how much you guys spend annually with transportation? Yep, that's fine. Okay, so 400 grand year to date. Now, is that small parcel, or is that like the small parcel like UPS, FedEx mixed in, or is that strictly just freight mixed in? All right. No, you're good. No, yeah, you're definitely in the wheelhouse. You're not. No, you're not too small. Yeah, that's fine. Um, cool. Next question I do have is, so for instance, I know, speaking with, multiple different CFOs, you guys tend to tie into, you know, technology. Do you guys have an ERP? Yeah. No, I'm familiar. Now, do you have a transportation management system? Okay. Yeah. Which ones did you look at? Yep. I've definitely heard of them. So then I know that you have an ERP. When you guys were like, say when you get a PO, because you don't have a TMS, is it just, those POs just manually going over to whoever, maybe the shipping department, if you even know that? It is. And then is there any business rules put in place for your shipping department? Again, not to get too into the weeds with, the shipping piece, but when those POs get kicked over again, is there any type of like, do you guys have any rules set in place from, leadership saying, hey, we want you to do it when it comes into picking, the vendor or, logistics partner to ship out the product? Pretty manual. Cool. All right. Definitely. So yeah, and again, I see that a lot too. Is even which is something that I see a lot more than just not having a TMS, is having a TMS but not utilizing it to its full function and having to pay a bunch of money and not even utilizing it to its full potential, right? And by no means, it's funny is because it's like no means when people think TMS technology, they think it's it's the end all be all, and a TMS is going to be the solution to their problems, when realistically it's definitely a pro to have, but you got to know how to utilize it, right? You got to put business rules in place. It's always got to be updated. um or essentially it's just basically storing information. I mean, it does a little bit if you don't do anything, but you get the point. um yeah, but what happens is a lot of times is people will have their ERP system, and then they'll have their TMS system, and those two won't even be integrated or talking. And I know it's like when people think of like integration, they think, again, it's a nightmare. I'm not sitting here saying it's definitely not a nightmare. It can be, but trust me, I've failed multiple times overselling it and overcomplicating it. But if those two things are not talking to each other, you're truly not, you're putting a band-aid on a problem, right? The goal is to, have your ERP speaking to your TMS and vice versa. So you're being able to automate that order and process. So when a PO gets kicked over to ERP, it gets shot over to your TMS. And then if you even got a little bit more in depth, you can actually, again, I'm not an IT person. I got a bunch of way smarter people, way smarter people than me, but essentially it would, if you had business rules put in place, it would say, hey, this is PO to this customer and this is the carrier to use. So it automates where it's supposed to automate. And again, your director of supply chain or logistics, their team will be able to, focus on other things that are going to, truly impact the company versus having to spend hours doing that. So the impact of that is obviously time saving, and actually being able to see, actually putting like business rules in place that you set forth, and knowing that they're getting, they're being held. So cool. I know we're on 5 minutes, but I mean, just over, this 5 minute conversation, obviously building out you the cost to serve analysis to show you exactly the cost served by locations, customers, and SKUs, which in turn, is going to drive out transportation costs, as well as, increase profitability specifically on those, which we fit when we find out those low margin customers or products. And then on top of that, we offer a TMS free of charge. I should say this, depending, but usually, again, we make our money on transportation, right? So if we can, if our rates are, and we make enough margin on our end and it makes sense, we offer a TMS for free, and the integration's free. We provide you guys with the resources and stuff like that. But that's like a meeting or two out. But, just just off the cusp of, what we're talking about, do you think there's enough value that we can schedule another set call, preferably next week, Thursday at 10, and let's say 30, 45 minutes? Yeah, I can do that. So Friday, or I'd say Tuesday's good for me, but like I said, are you, I'd like to bring on, our VP of managed trans. Yeah, he's way smarter than me. Well, thank you. No, but he knows a lot. And I just thought, yeah, he's actually supposed to call me today, but again, I I don't feel safe doing it Tuesday just because I don't know his schedule. So Friday, Thursday doesn't work. Friday work. Sounds good. Awesome. I'll go ahead and shoot you that invite. And then if anything comes up, just let me know if we got to move things around. And then also, wait, you said two real quick, because I will ask them, but just in case, but don't count on it. You said Tuesday, you got that time slot open from 10 to noon, 10 to 11. All right. Yeah. I'll shoot you if you don't, I'm going to send you the invite for next Friday. And then if Tuesday pops up within, like, by the end of today, if I know if you can do Tuesday, I'll just, exactly. All right, cool. Well, I appreciate it. I look forward to talking to you, and yeah, I appreciate you giving me, some time, setting some time aside just to, let me pitch you. It's a lot easier doing it this this way for sure. Definitely. All right, you have a good one. Bye. That was different. A set called a pitch.